Bine ați venit la Biblioteca Județeană Alexandru și Aristia Amani din Craiova. Suntem astăzi prezent la conferința cu titlul Dilemmas of Europe, The Future of Romania and Russia Relations, conferință organizată de Biblioteca Județeană Alexandru și Aristia Amani, de Centrul pentru Studii de Politică Externă și de Securitate și de Academia Internațională Mihai Eminescu. În deschidere, îl invit pe domnul Florin Văsătoiu, lector al Universității din Craiova, să vă prezinte invitațiile astăzi.
Facultatea de Științe Sociale. E important de menționat. Mulțumesc tare mult pentru operativitatea evenimentului și pentru că 99% vorbiți în limba engleză. Deși nu e politicos față de țara gazdă, o să vorbesc în engleză, să fim eficienți cu timpul, da? Good morning to everyone on this lovely sunny day, and thank you for dropping by at this time of the day, particularly for those of us that work late in the night, and that will be rather a challenge. My name is Florin Văsătoiu, and I lecture in international relations at the Faculty of Social Sciences, and recently one of the founding fathers of the Center for Foreign Policy and Security Studies, together with the Dean of our faculty. Let me say a big thank you to Lucian that for very emergency matters he had to join in a regional council, county council meeting for various reasons. So he apologized for not being able to give a kickoff for the gathering. But Lucian has been one of the most supportive partner we had in town that has been given us time over again to support our activities, to stay in touch with various publics in the region. And also a dearly welcome and warm appreciation for my colleagues from the International Academy, Mihai Eminescu, to Professor Deaconescu, that happens to be the chairman of this foundation, and to my colleague, Director Cristi Bercelu, much appreciated guys for being hereby close to us today. And not last, let me say, hello to our faculty members, the Dean and the Deputy Dean and other professors from our faculty. Thank you guys for taking the time because we are all aware that there is much work to do up there at the offices as well. Today is a special day for our town and for the country. I have to let you know that yesterday evening we had a lovely panel discussions in Bucharest with various individuals from various institutions. The feedback so far that we collected has been marvelous. And we suspect there is going to be a live discussion also here by today. So allow me to introduce Alexei Gromyko, that is going to be an honorary keynote speaker here by today, who does not need that much of introduction for most of us. But nevertheless, for those of you that have not been briefed quickly about his profile, allow me just pick up a few words about Alexei. Alexei is the director of the Institute of Europe of the Russian Academy of Science. He is a corresponding member of the Russian Academy of Science. He is a member of the Russian International Affairs Councils. He is a graduate of the Faculty of History of the Lomonosov Moscow State University. And Alexei got his doctorate. He is a doctorate of science, particularly in history. Alexei has worked for quite a while at the Ruskin College at the Oxford University. He lectures at MGIMO, that is a particular faculty that belongs to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation. He is a member of the Diplomat Council of the Diplomatic Academy, that again, that's a body of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation. And he is a co-founder of the Russian movement, Support for Democratic Global Order and for the United Nations. A bit of few technical notes that I would very much like you to take into account. The event is recorded compared to the one in Bucharest, that was Chatham House yesterday. So you won't hear by that much about what happened in Bucharest, but obviously everyone is exposed to what's going to happen here. So that's a big plus of the event, and thank you, Alexei, for giving approval on that. So the event is being recorded, which I hope we should have it on podcast, perhaps in the next couple of days, Facebook, Twitter, on the website of the library, and so on. Let me remind you that you should have your mobile on silent. I know sometimes that's a challenge, we need to stay in contact with our friends, but please make sure your mobiles are on silent just because the event is recorded. Before I give the floor to Alexei, just let me share with you some of my thoughts on the topic, as that was not incidentally picked up, the dilemmas of Europe's and Romania and Russia bilateral relations. And I have to say the very naked truth that my thoughts are not originally Florin Păsătoiu thoughts. I have shared my thoughts with loads of front-runners in the international relations, and I understood myself as an academia at this university that we always need to preach the very naked truth and to pick up actuality when we want to give reason behind our thoughts. So beyond any kind of party politics, beyond any kind of partisanate that you may want to think of, my thoughts rely on strong theoretical background and plenty of factuality. And for those of you studying international relations, it's there. You'll see where I come from and where I'm heading to. Last week I had the pleasure to be in Bucharest as part of the Aspen alumni annual gathering, and I have to admit that some of them, are still obsessed with the world primacy, with the old world primacy, which makes a lot of a talk in terms of the center-periphery paradigm that should still lay the ground for global politics. The thing is that we are not at the heart of the transition period, something that we touched upon yesterday in Bucharest, but we are right at the downstream of the transition period. And why I'm saying that is because that started around the end of the 18th century, and yet that has taken some speed, particularly in the last couple of decades of the 20th century. And we've been witness to massive flow of capital and technology transfers from the West toward Asia and Africa and other parts of the globe. And that trend has strengthened the rest. And you know, I gave this talk at the class, the Farid Zakaria brings into the discussion, he coined the term the West and the rest of the world. So all this transition has been given a lot of clout to the rest of the world. That has been taking the center, which has been the Western Hemisphere, from the center of global politics. And that has made the rest of the world to cease being, quote, the province of a small club of the Western countries. And this is mainly because it has been not just in terms of modes of production that we have witnessed transfers, but also in terms of modes of power that has become more diffused and more evenly distributed throughout the world. And yet, while in Europe the political debate is utterly out of touch with the challenges looming at the horizon, where the rest acquires what we lost time and again ago. And this is what we lost. We lost the national pride, and we lost the confidence to claim a seat at the table on an equal footing. A bit of an overview of the old world that Romania has been part of for the last couple of centuries, but also on the new world. On the old world, the White House administration declared that the Iran deal is an embarrassment. And I think that happened a couple of weeks ago. That the Iran deal is an embarrassment for the US. Once again, the very mastermind at the White House giving a blow to multilateralism and torpedoing years of negotiations amongst the leading states at the world level. Macron just gave us a bit of a talk a couple of weeks ago, asking all the EU member states to give Europe a strategic doctrine. Obviously, for some of us, he just got us on the wrong footing, which completely not being easy to understand what's going on. Germany wants to put the brake, and France would like to advance the political project to give more integration. At the same time, with Mogherini inserting into the global strategy agenda of the European Union a bit of national interest that would need to prevail at various moments in the evolution of the European Union. So we got ourselves a bit confused of what's going on into the EU. Germany is just hosting at the parliament the first in decades, and that goes back in the early 60s. So Germany hosted the parliament the first far-right party. And this is quite a wow. And Catalonia just scored a big point in the face of the short-handed international law that gives self-determination some century-old legitimation, but nothing more than talking shop. And all of that in a Hungarian, old-fashioned political goulash, and in a bit of Polish European escapades, fueled by a marvelous Zubrowka, for those of you that just recently returned from Poland. So that's quite a bit of a story that we are witnessing now going on in the old world. The truth is that in the absence of a new social negotiated order in between the elites and the emerging cosmopolitan European working class, and Romania knows that at best, the resurgent populism at places with national outbursts may replace patriotism with identity politics and spread a new contagious political culture throughout Europe. Perhaps I've been a bit biased, but that was intentionally, and obviously you caught that. How about the New World? Who's building up the New World? China is operating direct railway lines in Iran. Turkey just signed a contract to acquire an S-400 missile defense equipment from Russia. Russia is striking backdoor deals with Germany and with Hungary. North Korea keeps flying nukes over the Japanese tea fields, and Iran continues to play on the devil's side, but still welcoming the European foreign direct investment. To conclude, let me just say that Romania's geographical position, the expertise that Romania has acquired throughout the centuries when it comes to our neighbors, as well as with the traditional diplomatic relations, may suggest that Romania has at least the potential to play a much more critical role when it comes, let's say, at least to regional politics. In light of the US pivot to the East, rebalancing, retrenchment, or just shutting the door to the entire world, as we've been warned here and again by Donald Trump, as China projects further its Belt and Road Initiative, and while Russia keeps strengthening, at least in terms of a wishful thinking, its Eurasian Economic Union, Romania needs to balance its foreign policy and security policy in between bandwagoning with the West and an incremental rapprochement with the rest of the world, in such a way that Romania's national interests are more articulated and endorsed in the EU and US foreign and security policies. Anyway, without further ado, Alexei, the floor is yours. Thank you.